So this time, in this particular video, I'm going to be talking about strings. And the string is another data type, and there is kind of it's called basically a sequence data type. So your list, your tuple, and your string, they all fall under sequence data type. So string is very widely used in your data science and in basically all types of Python coding. So I'm going to spend a little bit time on string now. Okay, so how do you declare a string? So let's say I declare a variable s, and the way you declare a string, you use actually these double quotes. Okay, this is one way to declare a string, you double quotes. So let's say I want to declare a string. I want to say Python is easy to learn. All right, easy to learn. Simple string. So that defines my string. Okay, oops, print s. Okay, it's going to print your string, and we also want to see what type of this variable s is. Okay, how do you see that? Well, if you guessed type command, you're right. That's how exactly you see what type of that variable is. So it's going to print my string first, and then it's going to print my type. All right, let's run this code. And there you go. Python is easy to learn, which is my string right there. It printed that, and also it printed class. Okay, I mean, what type of that is? It's a string class. Okay, there is another way you can define string. You actually can write like this. Instead of using double quote, you can use single quote. Okay, you can use single quote, and then run this thing, and there you go. It defined the string. Well, this is another way. Then there is another way. You can actually say str. You can use this command str. It's an inbuilt command. And when you type s equal to str, Python is easy to learn. Print s and print type, and it's going to print your string. Okay. So these are the three different ways you can actually declare a string. Now the question becomes, why do you need this str? Right? What's the purpose of this str? I mean, over here, if you think about it, over here you were able to define your string just by single double quote, right? You create your one double quote over here and another double quote over here that creates a string. So why do we need this str? What's the point of that? Well, the point is this. What if you have, oops, let me just, what if you have a variable, okay? Let's say the variable is x, okay, x equal to, let's say, 90. For some reason you want to convert that into a string, okay, and this is how you can convert that into string, by using str. Okay, so by using str, you're saying that whatever this variable is, okay, whatever this variable is right here, okay, convert this into an str string. And this is one of the use of this inbuilt function str. So now if you print your variable, it's going to print 90, okay, and it's a class str. And the reason it became str is because we have typecasted it. This is called typecasting, okay, typecasting. So I just have manually had to change. See over here, your x was basically integer. I have changed that from changed that the type from integer to a string, okay, by using this str inbuilt function. This is called typecasting. Okay, how do you access some of these elements? So let's talk about accessing elements. Accessing string elements. Okay, let's change this into a markdown code. All right. Okay, so let's say you want to print the first character. Okay, so let's say your string is Python is easy to learn. Same string. Let's start with that. Okay. Oops. Oh dear God, what's happening over here? Let me see if I can copy. Yep, now it's working. Copy and paste over here. Okay, Python is easy to learn. Print s, that's going to print the whole string out. All right. What if I don't want to print the whole string? I just want the first character. All right. So the way you do this thing is you actually use this special square bracket, and square bracket will actually allow you to access those characters, this is called slicing, by the way. So it will allow you to, sorry, this is not slicing, this is basically called accessing. This will allow you to access those elements. So if you want to access the first element, now remember in Python, actually most of the languages, you are actually starting your index with 0. So your P, this P is your 0, your Y is your 1, okay? And your T is your 2, and so on and so forth. So just let me show you. Let's scroll down a little bit. So if I say, oops, if I say Python is easy, all right? In this case, my P is my 0, okay? The index of this is 0. The index of Y is 1. The index of T is 2. And the index of H is 3, and so on and so forth, okay? So if I want to access my first index, I'm going to say 0, all right? So let's run this, and it is P. By the way, what type of what type that is? Let's see. Okay, I'm just curious now. TYPE. Anytime you're curious, just check, just type, just to give you a little idea. Okay. Now, can anybody guess what that type would be? And the answer is it's str. So this is an str. P is your str. All right. Okay. What if you want to print? Okay. Let's say you want to print your second character, third character. Okay. So third character would be your 0. Remember, it starts with 0, 0, 1, 2. So your third character would be 2. Okay. And then change this to 2. And you print this thing, and it's going to print T. Actually, I already don't need this anymore now. It's a waste of space. Okay, so it's going to print T because it starts with 0, 1, 2. So this is your T. That's how it prints T. All right. What if you want to have access to the last character? All right, last character. All right. So the last character is in Python. There's a special way. You can say -1. All right. But typing -1 that allows you to print the last character. Now, one of the advantages of using -1 is that what if this string is a very big string and you do not know the length of the string? If you know the length of the string, let's say is 50, you can just type over here 50 over here, right? Like just go over here and let's say the length of this string is basically, let's say 12. You can just type 12 over here and that's going to give you the last character, 12. But what if you don't know the name of the length of the string? In that case, this particular tool comes very handy. You can just say -1 and that's going to print your last character. In this case, your n, which is this one, n. All right. I hope you can see my screen. All right. So this is going to print your n, which is the last character, this one. Okay, what if you want to print the fourth character? Okay, you want to print the fourth character from your end. Okay, the fourth character. So let's see. This will be your one character from the end, second character from the end, third character from the end, and fourth character from the end. Okay, so E should be your fourth character from the end. All right. So let's see. Let's run this thing and E. All right. So far so good. It prints the E as the fourth character from the end. Now let's talk about slicing. All right, slicing. So in slicing, you the syntax basically is like this. You actually go like this, square bracket again, and you say start position. Okay, this is your start position, colon, and then there is an end position. Okay, end position, and I'm going to explain you through example what these variables, these start position, end position, and step size they mean. And the last one would be step size. Okay, so start position by default is 0, all right? So start position default, okay, value value is 0, all right? And end position default value is by default value is the last one. Likewise, your end position default value is last, that your last index, okay, which is I believe is -1, okay, and then your step size by default, step size, okay, by default is 1. All right, so let me explain you in a minute now what I mean by all of this. But let me show you 3 examples. Maybe it'll give you a little bit more clarity. Okay, let's run this. All right. So when you do slicing, you have your start position, colon, okay, colon right there, and then you have end position, and then you have colon, and then you have a step size. All right. So let's go back to this example again, right? Let's say a type 1 colon 4 colon 1. Basically, I'm saying let's start from the position 1. Okay, start from the position 1. So that's my start position right there, start position. Okay, then my second one is 4, which is my end position. Okay, so my end position is 4. That means you stop at the fourth position. And step size is telling me that how many steps to move. Okay, so in this case, I'm saying step size 1. So what's going to happen is that I'm going to start with 1, right? So where is my 1? Y. Y is my 1. Okay, and then I'm going to go start with Y, which is your 1. Then I'm going to go 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, and 4 step. Okay, now remember, let's run this thing first. Okay, now remember what's happening. Actually, let me just write this thing down on the screen so this way you can see. It'll give you a little bit more clarity. And okay, so in this case, okay, so this P Y T H O N is, and you can keep going like this. So this is saying, let's start with position 1, okay, which is start from here because this is your index 1, okay, and then you go all the way up to fourth index, but you don't count really the fourth. So in this case, this is 1, this is 2, right? This is your 2, this is your 3, and this is your fourth. Oops, right there. This is your fourth. So you're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and fourth, but you're not gonna count this fourth. You actually skip this fourth. All right. This and so somebody had asked me why is it so? Well, this is the how it was designed. People who actually designed this little syntax, this little way to slice. I kind of don't agree with that. I think if they wrote 4 over there, then the 4 should have been included. But this is the way it was designed, and so I guess we are just stuck with that. Okay, so you start with position 1, index 1. So this is your index 1, and you keep going all the way up to index 4, which is 4, but you do not include index 4. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you include, sorry, you do not include, you exclude this index 4. So that means it's going to be YTH. And this 1 right here, what this 1 means is that you basically going 1 step, okay? So this is 1 step, this is 1 step, this is 1 step. So this is called 1 step. So the answer, that's why it came out to be YTH. So let's experiment with this thing to understand what this means. By the way, what if you don't specify this 1? Remember I was telling you by default the step size is 1. So let me just show you what I meant by that. Oops. Okay. If I, okay, so 1 colon 4, all right? All right, so in this case, since I'm not specifying this part, okay, this part is not specified, it means by default it's going to assume that it is 1, okay, and see it output as YTH. Now let's say I want to let's just understand this a little bit more, okay? Maybe we'll give you better understanding. What if I say S 1, 13, 3, all right? 1, 13, colon, 3, all right? So let's try to understand what's happening over here. So here, basically you have, oops, let me just activate this, all right? And I wonder if I can somehow make this a little smaller, size maybe smaller. Oh yeah, there you go. Perfect. Okay, so let's say I have this one, S1 13 3. What this means is that start with index 1, start position is your 1, and you're gonna go all the way up to 13th index, but not going to include the 13th index, and you are going to use a step size of 3. So let's see what it means. Let's write this thing down. Python, okay, Python is easy to learn. All right, so this is your index 0. This is your index 1, okay? 1. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember, there's empty space. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is your 13. Y is your 13. Oops. This is your 13th position. Okay? So your Y is your 13th position. So this is your 1 right there. Okay? So this is your index 1 and up to index 13. So 1 means you're going to start from here. Your start position is 1, and your end position is going to be 13, and step size 3, meaning when you go like this, you actually go 1, 2, 3. So you're going to go, oh, actually, let me run this thing first for you so you guys can see what's happening. And where is it? Let me go here. Let me run this. Okay. All right. So first it's going to print Y. Okay. Where is that? Okay, so first it's going to do is print this Y right there. And this is why this Y came, okay? Then it's going to go 3 steps forward. So you go 1, 2, 3, okay? 1, 2, and 3. So what it prints next is O, okay? That's why it got O. Then you're going to go 3 steps again. Why do you go 3 steps? Because of this plus 3 over here. So you're going to go 1, 2, and 3. So it's going to print I, and that's why I printed I. And then it's going to do the same thing, 3 again. 1, 2, and 3. It's going to print E. Okay, that's why I printed E. All right, then it's going to go again. 1, 2, and 3. But remember, it does not count the last character. Okay, so it's going to just stop. So it's going to print Y, O, I, E. Y, O, I, E. So this is what this slicing does. All right. So you can actually practice few times. You can actually change these numbers from, let's say, change this to 2, make it 12, make this thing as 4. Just play around and see what it does. Okay, that'll give you a good idea. All right. So there is, what if you want to print? Okay, let me just, all right. So there is another one. Oops. What if you type, okay, like this, 3, just 3. Okay, now remember, if you're not specifying what is the first position by default, it's going to be 1. Okay, so by default, actually, in this case, it's going to be, actually, it's going to start everywhere, yeah. So if you write like this, print S square bracket colon 3, that means start from the beginning and print all the way up to 3rd index. So see, but not excluding the last index, excluding the 3rd index. So P is your 1, okay? Your P is your first index, Y is your second index, and this is sorry, let me Let's start again. 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3. So let's P, Y, T, H, O, N. So in this case, your 3 would be, this is 0, 1, 2, 3. This is your 3 right here. All right. Now, if you recall, you don't do, you actually exclude this one. You go this way. So it's going to print P, Y, T, excluding this one. So if you run this thing, okay, if you run this particular cell, it's going to print PYT. And the reason it printed PYT is because it's going to start from beginning and it's going to go all the way up to third index, or index number 3, not third index, sorry, index number 3. But it's not going to print the index number 3. This is why it prints PYT. What if I say colon 5? So it's going to say 3, 4. So it's going to print PYTHO if I change this into 5. Okay, so let's do that. Change this to, just to experiment, change this to, let's say, 5. Okay, run this. So this is your 3, this is your 4, this is your 5. Right here, this position is your 5, this one. Okay, this is your 5. So it's going to print PYTHO, but it's not going to print the last position. Okay, it's going to print PYTHO. Let's run this. And there you go, PYTHO. All right, so there is that. Now, what if you want to print, okay, the character starting from here? Okay, so let me show you what I mean. Let's say you want to print, okay, let's say you want to, instead of using like this, you are using 2 and you're not specifying this position. Okay, so what this is saying is that start from the index 2. Okay, so index 2 would be, this is index 1, sorry, index 0, index 1, index 2. Let's run this thing, and then keep going all the way to end. Okay, start with index 2 colon and keep going all the way to the end. All right, so in this case, index 2 would be your, this one, 2, T. This is your index 2. Okay, this one is your index 2. So see, 0, 1, 2, and then keep going all the way up to at the end. So it's going to be Thorn is easy to learn. That's why it printed Thorn is easy to learn, because of this 2 colon. Okay, next one. Let's say you want to have, uh, let me paste it first. Okay, colon, okay, colon, colon, -1. Okay, in this case, what it's going to do is that it's going to start from the last index. Okay, -1 means start from the last index, which is this one right here. Okay, and then you print from, starting from the last index, you go in this direction and print everything out. So it's going to print n first, then it's going to print r, then it's going to print a, then it's going to print e, and so on and so forth. So let's run this thing, and there you go. You see, it printed, it's going to print n first, then it's going to print r, and there you go, r, and then it's going to print a, and then it's going to print e, E, and so on and so forth. It's going to print the whole thing in reverse order. That's what this -1 over here would mean. Now, why do you need this thing? Well, if you want to reverse a string, you can reverse a string like this. So this is one of the functions that you can use to reverse a string. Okay, there is another one. What if you write -5, okay, 2, and then -1, all right? So what this is saying is that, remember I told you what this is. -5 means start index. This is your end index, meaning your end position, and this is your step size, okay, like how much to go back, okay. So you start with -5, okay. So let's start with -5. -5 basically means is that fifth character from the last. So let's do that, okay. So let me just write over here, Python is easy to learn. Okay, -5. Now remember, this is -1. Okay, this is -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. This is your -5. So you are saying that you start from here, all right? And where do you end? You're saying ending at 2. Okay, so where exactly is your 2? The 2 would be like this. Remember, this is your 0, this is your 1, index 1, and this is your index 2, 2. Okay, so your start is from here and your ending is here, all right. And then it's saying -1, okay, that means go backward. So you have to go backward like this. So you end up printing L space O P space Y S A E space and so on and so forth all the way up to T. But remember, you do not print the last index. You don't really print that. You only print one before that. Okay, so let's run this thing. And when you run this thing, there you go. You see, it took L, okay, printed L, space OT, space OT, and then space YSAE, space YSAE, and all the way up to here until H. Okay, it's not going to print the last, as I said, it excludes the end position. So it's going to print up to H. All right, so this is what's happening. So you're basically, you can, this is called slicing. So you can slice this way in this direction. You can also go in this direction. Okay, so you can take certain substrings. All right. Okay. Uh, moving on to the next topic. Okay. What if you type -12, okay, to -5? All right. Let's do that. Okay, -12 to -5. Well, if you're going to use the same approach, same principle, okay. So what's this going to be? Python is easy to learn, right? All right. So start with -12. Oops, sorry, forgot to write -12. My fault. Let me fix that. -12. Okay, start with -12. Now remember, uh, this is your -1, right? -1, and then -2, -3, -4, -5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is your -12a. All right. Let me run this thing, by the way, so you can understand that. Okay, so your -12 would be this right here. Okay, so this is your starting position. Okay, start with -12 and you keep going to -5. Now, where is your -5? -5 is again, let's start from here. This is your -12. Okay, -12, and your -5 is going to be, let's see, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. This is your -5 right here. Okay, -5. Okay, so you are saying start with -12, go up to -5. Start from here, go up to -5. Okay, and how much step size? Now remember, as I said before, if you don't specify step size, by default it's going to take 1. So it's going to print A, S, Y space T O space, and it's not going to print the last character. Okay, remember it excludes the last character. So that's why you get ASY space TO space ASY space TO, and then there is a space. Okay, so this is a slicing. All right. Now moving on to the next topic. Actually, continuation of the same topic now. Let's see. Let's do some practice real quick. What if I type like this? Python is easy to learn, and I say, uh, let's call this thing as S1 to 8. Okay, 1 to 8. All right. So let's do that. Let's run this thing. And 1 to 8 makes sense because remember, this is your 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It does not print S. Okay, it's only going to print up to I. So it's going to print YTHON space I. YTHON space I. So this is how it prints that. Okay, let's do string concatenation now. So let's talk about string concatenation. String concatenation. So let's say you have a new string. Okay, let's call it new str. Okay, a new string. Let's say it is called let's say s uh, plus is fun. Okay, is okay. So what's just happening over here? You see this plus operator? This is called an operator overloading. So what I'm doing, I'm taking a string over here. Okay, I'm taking a string and I'm taking another string right there. Okay, and I'm concatenating these two strings together. Not adding, sorry, I misspoke. I'm basically concatenating. The proper word is concatenation. Okay, so let me just sorry, let me just cut this thing, put this over here, run this thing, and then you. Okay, so new string is s plus and so, and is fun inside the string. So what just happened over here? I just created a new string. Okay, and my new string. Let's read what the string is. Okay, print new str. All right, Python is easy to learn and is fun. Let's say and is fun. Python is easy to learn and is fun. Okay, so this string was one before that. Okay, and is fun, which is this part. I concatenated to that. Okay, so this operator plus. Remember when we were doing our an integer, when we were using plus sign in integer, it was basically adding those integers because it knows it's an integer. So in Python, when it sees right when it sees this plus operator, okay, it sees what's before plus. And if it sees this is a string, and then it sees this as a string, then what it's going to do is going to take this string and it's going to concatenate that string with this string. So basically, it's going to take this string and it's going to append this string to the end of this string. Okay, that's what's happening over here. So for example, if I say, just to give you a better idea, let's say if I say, I create a string, hello, and hello and goodbye, goodbye, period. So if I say hello and goodbye, so this is my one string, all right, and then I'm going to concatenate with this other string. If you run this thing, it's going to say hello and goodbye, and it's fun, all right. Okay, uh, string repetition. So let's say I have a string, okay, same string. Oops. I have a same string, let's say S, and I use this multiplication operator, and I say 3. And by the way, what was my S? Let me just write my S over there, so this way you guys can see convenience. And let me just write my S over here. S. Okay. Same thing over here. Let me make this code self-contained. Okay, Python is easy to learn. So this is my S. A new string is S times 3. Okay, so if you, anytime when you take a string and you say times 3, what happens is it's going to take this string and it's going to concatenate this string to itself 3 times. Okay, that's what's going to happen over here. And if you look over here, you see Python is easy to learn. Concatenate is again, Python is easy to learn. Second time, and concatenate again, this would be your third one, 3 times. And that's where this 3 comes from. If you just say 2, okay, it's going to say Python is easy to learn, Python is easy to learn twice. So this operator, okay, what it's going to do, it's going to take this sequence, okay, your string is nothing but a sequence. It's going to take the sequence and it's going to concatenate that string or that particular sequence as many number of times as you specify over here. This is called string repetition. You can also check for some substrings, okay? So let's say you're checking for something, okay? Let's say you have a string, let's call it find, okay? Let's say you find str, and let's say you're looking for some string called th, all right? Th, all right? So you can also actually find if a string is present inside this by using something called in operator. Okay, so for example, uh, I can say, let's say print, okay, find str in, okay, in S. So what this is going to do is going to try to see if the th is present inside the string S. Okay, so this is going to find if that string is present inside that string. And if you execute this, it's going to print true because th is present right there. Th is present. Okay, so there are some string methods. I want to talk about the string methods. Okay, so this one actually allows you this in operator. You can use this in operator to find if this condition, if this particular substring is present inside this big string. Okay, this is very handy tool. Some string methods. All right. Okay, string methods. Right. So let's change this to markdown cell now. Let's run the cell and let's add another code. Okay. So let's say, oops. Let's say you want to print. There are certain methods available with this string. Okay. You can do certain things with these with the strings. Let's say you want to print the length of a string. Okay. You can actually use print len s. So len s is an operator, it's an inbuilt function that's going to print the length of the string. So if I run this thing, it's going to print 23. So if you count p, y, t, h, o, n space, including the space, and if you count all these characters, there will be a total of 23. Okay. If you don't believe me, just count each one of them and you will come across 23 characters. Let's make a little interesting. Let's put some space in here. Okay. So basically, I'm saying I'm creating a string, one empty space, two empty space, okay? And then I'm going over here, easy to learn, and then I put another empty space over here, and there you go. So now since I added 1, 2, and 3 empty space, so 23 plus 3 should be 26, so it should give me 26, and there you go, 26. You see that? So by adding some empty space over here, I can increase the length of this string. Okay, so let's just play around with this string. with this toy example a little bit. What if I want to change the whole string to lowercase? So there is a way, okay? And the way you do this thing, you say s dot. There is a function called lower that's present inside this string class, okay? Now, there is a little handy tool that I use, and I thought you guys should know. You see, when I type s is my variable, and if I type dot, and I can hit tab, okay? If you hit tab twice, okay, that's going to give you all the options. You see that? Because there's no way you can remember all the methods that are available inside the string. So I can actually look at these ones, and I can find, which method I want to work with. I know there's a lower, okay? So I just type LO, and you see lower function came over here. Just select on lower, and there you go, lower. So what it does is it's going to take the whole string, okay? It's going to take this whole string s, and it's going to convert into a lower. Okay, that's what this thing does. So let's run this thing and see. Python is easy to learn. You see the P was capital over here. It's no longer capital. It's a small case now. Okay, so it has lowered everything down. What if you want to make everything into uppercase? Well, let's do that. And gives you that option too. You say print, okay, and you say s dot, there's an upper function. I'm sure you must have guessed by now, upper. And what this is going to do is going to take the whole string and convert into an uppercase. All right, so let's run this, and there you see that Python is easy to learn. Everything is in uppercase. Okay, what if you want to replace? Okay, so these functions, these methods, they are very handy too, and they are used so often that in the string, when you are actually using a string, you can actually invoke them by using s dot. Okay, and you can call those methods. So replace is another one of them. As the name indicates, replace is going to replace something with something. That means you have to provide those two somethings. Those are called parameters. Okay. So I want to replace my py, okay, py, which is this one, okay, with my. All right. And by the way, let's make this thing as lowercase. Okay, lowercase. All right. So I'm going to replace my py by my my. Right. So let's do that. And there you go. It replaced py with my. You see that? You can replace any other variable. You can replace learn with, let's say, study. Okay, so that's up to you. All right, so there's a replace. What if you want to count how many O's are present over here? You see, there is one O and there is another O. Okay, so in this particular case, there are two O's. Let's say if what you want to count how many O's there are. Yes, you can do that one too. Print S, say S dot, okay, dot count. And what are you trying to count? You're trying to count your O's. Okay, sorry, O. All right, and that's going to print how many O's you have. So you should see how many O's you have a message over here. Let's run this, and you see two O's, which is the one O over here and the other O over here. All right, you get your two O's now. Okay, what if you, let me just make this code a little smaller. It's getting too cumbersome now over here. Okay, what if you want to capitalize, meaning you just want to capitalize one word? Okay, so let's do that. So how you do this thing? You say print, and you say s dot capitalize, okay, and then run this. And what it's going to do? It's going to capitalize your string. Okay. Uh, where was I? Where was I? Let's start capitalize. Okay. What if you wanna title? Okay. Actually, it's not title. I made a mistake. It's not title. I was supposed to do title. Okay. What if you want to do title? Okay. What title is going to do is, okay, by the way, can you tell me why capitalize did not work over here? Can anybody guess? The reason is because of this space over here. You see that? it actually capitalized the first word, and the first word is blank. That's why you saw this. On the other hand, if I were to remove this empty space, right? Now if I hit capitalize, it's going to say P as capital, all right? So that's why you did not see that first time. Okay, what if I want to increase capitalize just the words of the every word in the sentence? Okay, so there is a word called title. You can do S dot title, and that's going to, you see that P is capitalized, your I is capitalized, your E is capitalized, your T is capitalized, and your L is capitalized. You see that? So each one of these is capitalized. So this are the functions. These are some of the handy functions that's very useful. Another one is left strip. So sometime in your Python code, oops, let me just show you, like right here. So a lot of time it will happen where you'll be working with a string, and the string may contain these spaces. You see this space over here, and you see this space over here is having this unnecessary space. It may contain these unnecessary space, and you very often would have to remove them. So Python gives you the option to actually remove it. And the way you remove it is you say print s dot. It's called lstrip. Lstrip stands for left strip. Okay, meaning strip all the empty space from your left hand side of this string s. Okay, so it's going to take all this string, all right, and it's going to strip that of its empty space. And if you run this, you see now you're getting printed over. So let's print this thing before and before stripping and after stripping. So this way you can see what exactly is happening. Okay, print s. Okay, so this is basically before stripping, and this I was after stripping. So let's run this, and you see that before stripping you have this two empty space. Okay, I remove those two empty space, and right there is your s dot l strip after stripping. Okay, what if you are trying to strip the right space? Okay, like this one right here. Well, same logic. Let's do that. Okay, in this case, I'm gonna just change this L to R. L stands for left, R stands for right. So execute this cell, and there you go. Python is easy to learn, and it strips the right character. Okay, uh, next one. By the way, you are not able to see over here, but let's verify if it has really stripped it. How do we verify this thing? Let's verify the length. Okay, what you can do is find the length of this S and find the length of this SR strip. Okay, so this will give you a confirmation that it has actually stripped the space. So how do you find the length of a string? You say len and then S over here. All right. So that should give you the length of the string. And likewise, how do you find the length? You say same thing, len, and close this thing, len. All right, run this, and there you go. You see 26 and 25. 26 because if you count from here to here, you'll come across 26 characters. And then when you strip the R, which is your right part, which is this one, it's gonna count is gonna go from 26 to 25 because you have removed one empty space over here. Okay, what if you want to remove your space both from the left and right simultaneously? All right. Well, there is a method for that too. All you got to do is remove the word L, and that's all you got to do. Okay. In this case, it's going to strip this space and also this space. Okay. It's going to strip both the spaces, and it's going to print. Python is easy to learn. After stripping this empty space and stripping this empty space. Okay. Uh, let's All right. So moving on to the next topic. Let's say you have a message, okay? Your string, let's say, is message equals to, let's say you want to have today is good day. Let's put it today, comma, is a good day. is a good day, comma, to learn Python. All right. So let's say you have the string and you want to split the string. So it does, Python does, your string method does have a method called split. And what it's going to do, it's going to take this string and it's going to split into parts. For that function to work, you have to specify how do you want to split. So the way you do this, and it's going to create a list, it's going to return a list. So let's say the name of the list is LST, okay? I want to calling LST equal to, so you type MSG, which is your message, dot split. So that's the method, split. And then you specify where do you want to split the string from. So I want the string to split it at this comma, okay? This comma. So you type comma over here, and let's print this string out, okay? All right, LST. So let's see what it does, okay? Run this, and you see it has split this particular string, okay? It has split the string, and it used this comma as a splitting or as a delimiter, or think of this as basically a splitting point. So it splits the string into today, you see today, and that's why you see this word today over here. And then is, remember there's a space over here, is a good day right there. So see, space is a good day, and then space, space to learn Python. So you see, space to learn Python. So it splits this particular string into three different parts because there are two commas. So this is your first split right there, this is your second split over here, and this is your third split. And that's why you see three different entries in this list. Very handy tool. Actually have to, in my line of work, I split a string a lot sometimes because I have to divide the string into something like, if it's a comma separate values, you may want to actually split that. So like just to give you an example, let's say your string, your CSV value is CSV, okay, value equals, let's say you have a CSV value, okay, and let's say the values are basically 1, comma, 3, comma, let's say address is, let's say the city name is New Delhi, okay. Then his phone number is, let's say, 435-924, okay, and then 123. All right. So let's say his number is this, and you want to split this string, okay. You want to split in 1, 3, New Delhi, comma, this thing. You want like these variables. So how you gonna do this thing? Same way. You're gonna say LST, right? LST equal to CSV value, all right? And then dot split, all right? And then you specify how do you want to split this thing. I want to split using comma, all right? Split using comma, and then you print it, all right? Print this thing. Let me scroll this thing up a little bit. LST, all right? So it's going to split this particular string into 1, 2, 3, 4, into 4 different parts, because there is a 3 commas over here. You see 1, 2, 3. So it's going to split into 4 different parts, and it's going to print that. And you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 different parts. All right. So that takes care of the splitting. So it's a very handy tool, as I said, and it's you can use it to actually for in your data science or your string manipulation operations if you ever have to do that. Okay, can you add a numeric type to a string? Okay, so this is a question somebody had asked me. So let's try that. Okay, so let's say your a equal to 7, right? A equal to 7, and let's say your b equal to 5. All right, and you say your result equal to a plus b, right? Okay, print result, right? If you run this thing, what do you think will happen? Well, let's find out. Aha, you see, it's giving you an error. And the reason it's giving you an error because this is a string, all right? And this is an integer. And this plus operator, it expects either this to be string and this to be a string, or this to be integer and this, meaning it expects both of them to be of the same numeric type, or same kind of like same kind of data types. So if this is a string and this is a string, then it can add them together. Okay, in this case, it's going to become concatenation. On the other hand, if this is an integer and if this is an integer, then it's going to add the numbers just the way you add regular numbers. So this is why this is throwing an error. So if you want to add this a to 5, you can actually remove this strings quotation. Okay, so that's going to turn this a into, now a is no longer a string, now it's an integer. B is also an integer. And when you run this thing, it's going to print 12. What if you have, and you are steadfast that, hey, I want it to be as integer, as a string? Well, what you can do is you can actually say, convert this into an integer. You can say int. Okay, if you recall how you convert something into integer, you just use int function and you say int. Okay, so now your int has turned into an integer a. Initially over here your a was string, now your a is an integer. All right, so now when you do a plus b, it's going to work. You see, 12. So it worked. So this is one way you can actually uh, basically, do addition or subtraction of your string into your with an integer. Okay, what about multiplication? Right, let's do that. Multiply str with int. Okay, so the top one was basically addition. This one was addition, add. All right, so let's do that. Let me just copy and paste this thing again. Oops. Copy and paste. So let's say you have a is equal to 7 and b equal to 5. And now you multiply. All right. What do you think is going to happen over here? Well, remember, it's a string. Okay, you're multiplying a string by an integer. So let's see what it does. Okay, it's going to print 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. And the reason it actually did not give an error, it printed that, is because in Python, when you are taking a string and you're multiplying by an integer, it's going to take this string and it's going to concatenate that string with itself as many number of times as this number specifies, as your b specifies. So in this case, let's say my message, let's say a is equal to uh, hello, period. Okay, and my b now is, let's say, 4, or let's make it 3. Right, so what's going to happen is going to take a hello dot, okay, and it's going to concatenate hello dot to itself 3 times. All right, you see, hello dot, hello dot, hello dot. So this is what happens when you actually multiply a string with an integer. Okay, another thing, Python is immutable. Okay, Python, sorry, string is immutable, not Python. String, oops, is immutable. What it means is that once you have defined your string, you cannot go inside and change those characters. For example, if I say my string is this one right here, okay, let's say my string is this, okay, I cannot remember how I was able to access this string. Oops. Oops. Okay, you remember how I was able to access certain elements? So if I say print, what happened over here? Okay, so if you recall, what I was doing was I was actually able to access certain strings, right? certain elements of the string. So if I say s, let's say 2, it's going to print the index 2, right? Well, what if I want to change that index? Okay, so let me go print the string. All right, let me just remove this first. So let me just execute this. It's going to print today is a good day to learn Python. So let's say I want to change this t. Okay, I want to change this t to something else, and s0 equal to, let's say I change this to g. All right, in quotes. Oops. And let's see what it does. And I get this message. str object does not support item assignment. What basically it means is that once you have defined a string in a variable, those variables, you cannot go inside that variable and change individual elements of that variable. Okay, you can change the whole s by itself, but you cannot change individual. So basically, when I say s0 equal to g, I'm trying to assign this t. It's trying to replace this t with g. I cannot do that. So that Python, the Python would not allow that because strings are immutable. Okay, so this concludes the section on string.